Consistency, authenticity, clear communication all lead to trust. Clients need to be validated and they want to be heard, and then having a solution for them. And that is huge on building your trust. We are the flagship for natural beaded row hair extensions. So unfortunately, we just have to tell you no. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Big Money Stylist podcast. I'm your host, Krystal Coit. I'm an educator here at NBR Education, and today on this episode, I'm going to be welcoming Jacqui Veta. She is also an NBR educator. She's a licensed NBR artist and also a commissioned stylist inside of the flagship NBR salon, DKW Styling in Laguna Beach. So on this episode today, we wanted to talk to you guys all about how to build a cult-like following as a commission artist. And you've done this really well.
Oh, well, thanks.
But before we get into all the juicy details of how you did this, let's catch our listeners up on your background, your career, where you started, and how you landed at DKW in 2019, was it? 2019.
Yeah. Well, it's been many years in the making. I've been a hairdresser since 2002. So go ahead and do the math yourself. And
so we're 25.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just as old as my career.
That's right.
And pretty much right away, I got into doing extensions. Because one of the first stylists I assisted did them, and I was like, "Oh, this is amazing! I want to do this."
So, what type was it?
Well,
you don't have to say the brand,
yeah.
but just the type.
Yeah. So at that time, like K-tips, keratin, bonded extensions. That was the
rage.
That was a go-to. And so I learned various brands. For K-tips, for tape-ins, which I never did. I learned them. It was like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
But I knew how to do them and how to get them out, which has been useful.
I feel like maybe at some point I forced you to put them in my hair.
Maybe. I blacked out.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
For those of you who don't know this, Jacqui and I have worked together for... Gosh. So you said you started in 2002.
Yeah.
And I got licensed in 2004.
Okay.
And that was my first salon. So
yeah, I think you and Katie started there in 2005.
Okay. So 19 years. Awesome.
Yeah, we have some history.
Yeah.
That's some history. That's an adult child.
Literally. Okay, so you learn tapes and you're like, I definitely don't want to do those.
I don't want to do those. What else? I learned I-tips. So it's like a pre-bonded, if you don't know, and then you put it in with the hair in a bead, clamp it. I feel like I'm just talking about different hair extension methods now. But anyways, I've done a lot of different methods. I learned sew-in, to a braid. I did everything.
And in your business, did you start off assisting? Did you start off as a stylist?
Yes. So I started off assisting at Toni & Guy. I was a chemical technician, color specialist. And
you had to choose back then.
You had to choose.
Yeah.
It was departmentalized.
Okay.
And then that salon transitioned to a non-Toni & Guy salon, still very heavy on Toni & Guy education. I would definitely still consider myself a color specialist, even then and still today. But we didn't have to be departmentalized any longer. So that's when I started cutting, and that's when I was able to actually start implementing hair extensions into my business, where before it was just kind of like for fun on the side, because Toni & Guy didn't do extensions.
Right.
And they probably still don't. And so assisted, then went on to be a commissioned stylist. And I was a commissioned stylist for many years. I honestly don't know
How long?
But then the salon that we were at started offering rental as an option. And so then I transitioned my business to be a rental stylist. Again, I don't remember how long that was for, but it was for a while. And then when the opportunity presented itself to work at DKW, I'd been doing NBR for about a year and a half at that point on my own as a student, and I jumped at the opportunity.
Yeah. I feel like back in those times,
Yes,
you know,
back in those days.
the Dinosaur Ages.
Yes.
It was like, that was the thing. You were an assistant and you worked in a commissioned salon. And then it was like once you made it, then you got to like be a rental stylist if that was an opportunity. I feel like there weren't really salon suites out there.
No.
And it was just kind of this like, almost like a rite of passage. You're like, I hung out around the salon. I put my time in. I built my clientele. And like, now I've made it.
Yes.
And I did this, like, I followed the same path, except I never did extensions because I had worn them and I didn't love the results. And I was just like, there's no way that I'm going to be responsible for putting that on anybody's head besides my own, because what I have going on is not great. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I forced you to put like tapes in the back, bonds in the front at some point.
We Frankensteined a lot of stuff back in those days.
Yeah. And
You had to.
You literally did. And so I feel like with the industry in general, like it was like, this was the business model. This is what you did. And then for a few years, it was kind of like, I don't know, commissioned salons started to get a bad rap. Mm-hmm. And it was like, that's not the thing to do. Or there was just a lot of like negative things that surrounded it. And I'm not really sure if it's just like, you know, it's like this undertone of like commissioned salons have toxic environments or toxic owners or whatever it is. But what my point that I'm trying to make is, I feel like,
some of those things might be valid.
True. But what I'm trying to get at is like, there's so many different avenues in this industry. And honestly, being a commission artist, like, because we've done it all, I feel like being a commission artist is really like a sweet spot.
Yeah, definitely. I remember, kind of like Krystal was saying, it felt like a rite of passage to be able to be a rental stylist, where it's like my business is consistent enough that, yeah, I can pay you rent weekly and I don't have to worry about it because my books are full. I'm also seeing new clients. Like, it was like, yes, like I've made it.
Yeah.
And then going back to being commissioned at DKW, I felt like, oh, now I've earned it. Now I've earned it. I've earned the right to take a step back.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, I've done it all now. I've been commissioned. I've, run my own business in one chair. And now it's like, okay, now I don't think I need to do all of those things.
Right.
Anymore.
Now it's like, now I'm happy to just like come in and do my art. And I totally agree. Yeah. Because it's true, like in a commissioned salon, there's so many perks that you don't really have to worry about anything, like the color stocked, the hair stocked, your clients get responded to. If you're sick, guess what? You just get to call in sick. Yeah. And like, you're like, okay, everything's handled. So it's just interesting how, the industry has come in like phases. And even right now, I feel like there's buzz about like, is it better to be commission or better to be rental? And the reality is like, it's whatever's best for you is the right thing for you. But it's important to me to showcase that being inside of a commissioned salon, you can have the balance that you're looking for. You can create the life that you are desiring. You can make the money that you want to create. But it all comes down to really building a clientele that is obsessed with you. So let's talk about how you've done this over the years.
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is just that I'm always myself.
Yeah.
And I don't put on a mask or a face to try to fit in with somebody else. I mean, I still have a very diverse clientele, I believe. But I'm always authentically me. I wear what I like. I do my hair how I like. I talk about the things I like to talk about, but I can also have a conversation about whatever somebody else wants to talk about too.
Yeah.
So, I think that's it. Just being me.
Yeah, no, I think it's so important to be authentic, especially like when there's, social media is telling us that we need to like do this or do that to like go viral or make it big or, make the money that we want to make. But like that isn't true. And it really is about being your authentic self because people are going to be attracted to that. And if they're not like in your marketing, for example, you do this. Like I think you have it as a pinned reel. I love this reel that you did. You know the one I'm talking about? Where you're like, I'm not the artist for you.
Oh, yes.
So tell them about that reel and like what made you make this reel?
I know. I mean, obviously, I know the reel that you're talking about, but now I'm trying to remember what else I said.
Well, I don't know all the things, but just like the idea behind it, because I think it's brilliant. Like there's so like, it's do this funny dance and do X, Y, and Z and follow all of these trends.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I was feeling inspired because of the, a big push to again, do all these different things. Like, yeah, I'm not going to dance or lip sync. Like, and that's not me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I'm funny, but that's not always going to be like the first thing I think of when it comes to my marketing. You're just going to have to come find out. And what else was in there? But yeah, like it was like, if you need somebody that's going to like put on like a song and dance on social media, and like that's who you need to be your stylist, and like maybe I'm not the stylist for you, and that's okay. Like I am a bit more laid back, low key. I can be super chatty, but for the most part, like I'm a little bit on the quieter side. And I kind of like to let my clients lead. If they want to talk a lot, then I'll be right there with them. But if not, like I'm totally cool with a silent appointment.
Yeah, that's fine too. And it was like, I'm not the size for you if you need song and dance, but like if you're into blended extensions and effortless color and fantastic results, healthy hair, healthy scalp, then like I am the stylist for you. So I just thought that was so brilliant because there are so many trends out there right now. And inside of marketing, they're like, do this, do that. It's the only way to go viral. It's the only way to like reach people. And sure, you can reach people that way, but like, are they even connecting with you as an artist? So yeah. I love that.
Yeah. Going viral doesn't equate to butts in your chair or dollars in your bank account, unfortunately. Right. Like you have a big following. Maybe you get a lot of engagement, but again, those things still don't translate like necessarily. They might as well. Like you might have both, but it's not a guarantee.
For sure. And what we found is a bigger, I can't say guarantee, but a bigger ROI is being authentic and letting those people see you for who you are and connecting with them. So once you've captured them through your marketing and they sit in your chair, let's talk about your experience from like the time they walk in to the time they leave, follow-up appointments. Like, how do you retain clients that want to continue to see you? And at DKW, if you guys don't know, we are a commissioned salon. The salon does all of the consultations. They bring clients in. And obviously, if someone requests a certain stylist, then they get placed with that stylist if there's availability and things like that. But we still share clients. So we want our clients to have the same experience regardless of who they see. Sure, you like make connections with people, but if Jacqui's on a trip and her client needs to get in, we don't want to be like, well, now you have to go 10 weeks because Jacqui's gone. Like, we want you to be able to sit with whoever and have the same great experience. So that does mean that like your clients can see someone else. But how do you get them to stay in your chair and keep coming back time and time again?
I'd just say consistency is the biggest thing. Consistency in their experience, like literally from the minute they walk in the door to the minute that they leave, and delivering great results.
Yeah.
And I'm I feel like I am super, super big on a consistent experience, and I do everything that I can to like, kind of make sure that everything is the same every time, and not in like a boring way, but like,
Right.
I want to make sure that everything is still at that elevated expectation level.
For sure. And
You don't get comfortable with like, oh, she's been coming here for like 5 years, like, whatever.
I'm gonna mix her base before she's even here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just have everything ready for her. Something that I feel you do really well is you are very honest with your communication with your clients. So if they come in and they're like, hey, I really want highlights right here, then you have a great way of like explaining to them like, hey, we can do that, but here's the result, or here's what you're going to get from that. So like, tell me more about this open communication and where you got the confidence to like have these tough conversations sometimes.
It's not having the conversations that it's like, and then like, yeah, sure, and like doing something that maybe I knew wasn't going to be great or wasn't really going to give them what they wanted, but like feeling like I had to, listen to the client, which like you do, but you also don't. Like they don't know everything. They don't know what the end result is going to be of something that they're asking for. That's our job. And so, having those moments where it's like, yep, shouldn't have listened, that it's like, okay, you have to start having those conversations.
Yeah.
And it's scary at first because you're kind of giving the client some pushback. But I believe that if you do it, in a, like, you don't want to like argue with them. Like you do it in a calm and confident way because you are the expert. Ultimately, you'll gain their trust, because if you're like, yeah, I'm not going to do that, and here's why. I understand the end result that you want to achieve, and here is how I'm going to best achieve that. If that's something that's possible, and then you deliver that result, then they're like, oh, okay, I actually don't know what I'm just going to listen to you. And I find that the more I have those conversations with clients, the more they're just like, I feel like I have so many clients now that are just like, just do whatever. Right. They're like, it always looks great, no matter what you do. Just do whatever. And that's like my favorite spot to be in. It's the best because there's full trust. I know that I can take, artistic liberties based on what I believe is going to give them the best end result. I mean, it's not like, if I've got like a platinum blonde, I'm going to turn her like chocolate brown, like without discussing it. Like, but little toner tweaks or highlight placements or whatever. Like once you get to know somebody and get to know what they like you can kind of play around. So yeah, being honest and having hard conversations builds trust.
Absolutely. And I feel like that really just comes with experience. Like you said, like it's not easy to have those conversations with clients, but especially with hair extension clients who maybe have had really bad experiences in the past, maybe have had experiences where they don't really care what it looks like. They've never experienced hair extensions that don't look like hair extensions. So they're just like, it's fine that I have a mullet, or it's fine that I look like a jellyfish, as long as I have platinum 24s and my natural hairs to my chin.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
So that's where it comes into play of like, you have to tell these clients no. And like you said, from a compassionate place of like, hey, I want to deliver the best end result. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, like we can't do that today. Can that be a long-term goal? Sure. But like, here's what I think would be best. And you're absolutely right. That does for sure build trust, because then when they see the result, they're like, wow, this is something I've never experienced before. And obviously that's an extreme example, but there's plenty of other things inside of the salon with like minor tweaks where your clients are like telling you to do something and you're like, I already know that this isn't going to be what you actually want. But I found just with experience over time, like clients need to be validated and they want to be heard, and then having a solution for them. And that is huge on building your trust. Okay, so consistency, authenticity, clear communication all lead to trust. And what about things that you might do like after their appointment or birthdays, anniversaries, anything like that that you really feel like you do that kind of like takes that cult following to the next level?
I try to remember, if someone has a birthday coming up or a big trip, or I've had several clients have new babies recently. And actually for the ones that had babies, I sent them, it's called Spoonful of Comfort. It's like soup and cookies and like bread. And
sweet.
So somebody said that to me when like right after I had Liam, and I was like, this is the best thing ever. And so like little things like that. Or sending audio messages is great. Just checking in.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know, something that we teach inside of NBR Education is Daily 4. And one of the things that we like to practice are audio messages to your clients. And like Jacqui said, following up, whether they're going on a trip or just a nice message to say hi. But I also love this on like Instagram in DMs.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great way to market and really build that connection with potential clients, or even if you're DMing with the clients that are sitting in your chair currently.
Yeah, I love to follow my clients. I hope they follow me too. I think most of them do. And yeah, I love to interact with them. It feels like, you get to know them on another level, right? You get to like, you hear about their husband, their kids, their dog, whatever, but then you actually get to see them and like, follow along in between appointments. And so, yeah, I love doing that as well.
That's awesome. Okay, last thing that I want to touch on, because I know we kind of touched on it a little bit with like hard communication or hard conversations in communication. But as artists, as humans, we're not perfect and things can go sideways, right? Or we as artists do something and we're like, yes, she's going to love this, and they don't love it. So what happens when a client reaches out and they're just like, hey, I'm not happy with this, or could we do this? How do you approach that? Because I feel like this is also something that goes back to building that trust and really makes the client feel like, wow, she cares about me. She cares about my hair. Because they're like, I know for clients, like they don't want to be that person. And I also know as an artist myself, like it sucks when our clients reach out and say things like that. Like, we've been in the industry a long time, like we mentioned.
Yeah, it's happened. It's happened a lot.
And I feel like it still feels the same as when you're brand new.
Yeah, it never gets easier.
Like it still hurts. You're just like, oh.
Yeah, but you can't take it personally.
Yeah,
like feel your feelings, but let them pass. Like you can't live in that space because that doesn't serve you or your client. You have to put your ego aside, and you have to, take an honest look at what their feedback is, and is it accurate? Is it true? And I mean, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it is the lighting in their bathroom,
right?
Or they are seeing something that, like, isn't really there. But
God, that lighting in the bathroom.
I hate my hair in my bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, so I get it.
Right.
But I also know that that's not the light that's out in the rest of the world. Thank God.
Right.
So, being humble and taking a seat back and being like, okay, like, what can I do to make this right? Always coming from a place of not making the client feel bad or feel crazy, even if they are. No, there's no crazy clients. No, not one. No, but making sure to really listen to what they want and figure out if there is a solution. And Sometimes there's not, or there's not the solution that they want. Whether that's because of the integrity of their hair. I mean, that's really a big one. Or, maybe it's a placement issue or, something. Maybe there's something that can't be changed, because they're like, no, but I want my extensions right here. And it's like, no, you just can't have them right there. Like,
right.
That's not actually going to serve you. That's going to be painful and it's going to break your hair. Where it's just like, here's how we can get you close. Here's the best that we can do. And then this is just what it is. And I think sometimes, especially with extensions, there can be unrealistic expectations that it's like a magic wand that you're going to wave and, oh, now I'm going to have good hair. And it's like, well, what are you coming in with? Like, what's the canvas? What is what's the end result that you want? Like it might not be doable. I mean, I feel like I need to mention shag.
Let's talk about the shag.
I need to talk about the shag. So we had a guest that had come in with K-tips and severe damage from the K-tips. Her hair was already very short, baby fine, blonde. It had also been damaged from coloring. We gave her bob shorter and shorter because her hair was so short. Took her from 2 rows down to 1 row, which that was the best. That was the best that it looked.
And there was like 3 wefts, right? On 1 row?
Yeah, because her hair was so baby fine. So at the appointment that I took her down to 1 row, she was requesting a new install and requesting a shag. Now, I could have taken her money for a new install. I could have given her a shag.
And like she would have for sure needed 3 rows.
Yes. I also told her she would need 3 rows. Because literally the hair on the top of her head, some of it is this long.
Yeah. So if you're not watching this, she's indicating like 2.5 inches. It was short all over.
Yeah. And I told her no. I told her that I didn't believe that would be the best outcome for her based on some of the struggles that she was having with shorter hair with less rows. And going into that appointment, I already knew I wanted to take her down to 1 row. And so that's what we ended up doing. But I'm like, I don't know what she thinks the shag is going to look like, but it's not going to look like a natural shag. It's just not. It doesn't matter how good I am. It doesn't matter how well the color matches. It doesn't matter how good the placement is. This is not going to look like a natural shag, which of course is what she wants.
Right.
But I know that's not what it's going to look like. And so instead of getting myself in a position where, well, now I'm really fucked because now she's invested thousands more dollars, gotten all new hair
again
in a very short amount of time. But now she still hates her hair. And now I really can't be trusted.
Exactly.
So, I don't know where I was going with that, but
it's just, I just feel like there's situations where you can have these hard conversations with clients. You can be honest, and in the moment they're like, yes, I hear you. Okay, I agree with you. Yes. And they leave seemingly like, okay, we're all on the same page.
I love this.
Yeah, we're going to agree to like work on this while my hair grows out. And then they come back with like, well, no, XYZ for whatever reasons. And it's just literally, you're just like, was I in a different appointment? Did you hear something completely different? I'm just so confused at like how we're both on 2 opposite sides of the spectrum. And like this unfortunately just happens inside of the salon world because of previous experiences that people have. And they're not professionals. Like, they could be getting their hair done for, 40 years, but that doesn't make them a hairstylist. And so they don't actually know what is going to be best for that outcome. She actually couldn't achieve that outcome even with doing 3 rows. Like Jacqui said, it wasn't going to look natural. We are the flagship for natural beaded row hair extensions. So unfortunately, this is where we have to have those hard conversations of like, we just have to tell you no, because it's in your best interest and ours. And you can be mad right now, but if you give your hair some time and a few months and get some more length on it, then like you could have something really cute, but it's just not going to happen right now.
Yeah.
And I know that your clients appreciate that from you. Most of them.
Yeah.
The ones that still sit in our chairs. Like, that is something that, like, this is like, I just feel like we keep saying trust, trust, trust. Like, this is how you build this trust with your clients. And this is what keeps them coming back.
I have a client, and this is one that I have a lot of trust with and lets me do whatever I want. But in between her appointments, she'll send me random hair photos, be like, what about this? What about that? And it could literally be like a platinum blonde, and it could be like a level 3 brunette. And I'm like, what do you want?
Right.
What do you want? It's like Ryan Gosling in The Notebook. and now it's like, it's a funny joke, but we joke about it every time. We're like, she doesn't send me anything. I'm like, you didn't send me anything. She's like, we're not going to do it anyways. I'm like, you're right, I'm not. But I do still. Okay, when she sends me reasonable inspiration, even when she sends me unreasonable inspiration, I try to look at it and be like, what is it that she likes about this?
Right. What is she seeing in this?
Yeah. And then I go from there. And literally every time I do her hair, she's like, this is it. This is the best. This is the best. And it's like, and I love it. And like, it's great that we have this rapport, that like she can send me stuff, like she knows that I'm gonna tell her no.
No, right.
Because like she knows that I have her best interest at heart, and like I don't want to fry off her hair, and like, no, you're not going to be blonde one appointment and brunette the next. Like that's not what we're doing.
Right.
Like, but if you want to see some more pops, okay. You want a little more dimension? Fine. You like that mushroom brown toner? I got you. But let me make the decision.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So if you could give a commission artist who's building their career or maybe feeling stuck in their career and wanting to change some things, what piece of advice would you give them to really build a cult-like following of clients that they love to see?
I think just going back to all those things that we touched on, be authentically you, learn to be a good communicator. Be willing to have hard conversations, have integrity, having integrity as an artist, I think it'll get you a long way. It'll weed out some people for sure, as we just told that story.
Yeah.
But it'll keep the people in your chair that value you and value your opinion. And those are the guests that are going to eventually send you more like-minded guests, whether it's their friends, their coworkers, or even just like through you sharing the work that you do with those guests, you'll get more like-minded guests. It takes time, but if you just stay true to yourself, then that's the ticket.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you guys all for listening. Stay tuned for next week for a new episode on the Big Money Stylist podcast. And if you are a hairstylist looking for a community of artists, then check out nbr.education and look for our next 2-day class. Bye.